Number one, this is an article that came out of Forensic News. Donald Trump's loans from Deutsche Bank were underwritten by a Russian state-owned bank, VTB Bank. VTB Bank was also the proposed lender on the never-completed Trump Tower Moscow project. And, you know, he was seriously broke when that happened. He had been through several bankruptcies, number one. Number two, Congressman Ted Lieu, just along with Kathleen Rice, another colleague of yours, just opened an investigation into Trump manipulating futures in the Chicago Mercantile Exchange by having himself or family members or friends place massive bets on the S&P just before he made statements that would cause the stock market to go up or down. Number three, this is all like in the last 12 hours. Number three, unredacted emails show OMB officials knowingly engaged in a conspiracy to hide an illegal action by Trump, specifically that he was going to hold up the aid from Ukraine. And then I've got this set of tweets. This is from November 14th, 2011. That's a year before the 2012 election, exactly 1 year before, before the election. Trump tweeted, Barack Obama will attack Iran in the not too distant future because it'll help him win the election. And then on January 17th of 2012, roughly this week or next week, but of the election year 2012, Trump tweeted, Barack Obama will attack Iran in order to get reelected. And then on July 3rd of 2012, he said, just as I predicted, Barack Obama is preparing a possible attack on Iran right before November. And then on August 16th of 2012, he tweeted, I always said Barack Obama will attack Iran in some form prior to the election. And then on the month, 4 weeks before the election, October 9th, 2012, Trump tweeted, now that Obama's poll numbers are in a tailspin, watch for him to launch a strike on Iran. He is desperate. And then 2 days ago, Eric Trump tweeted, about to open up a big old can of whoop ass. Hashtag don't mess with the best. Hashtag USA, USA. He has deleted that tweet now that people are going, really? You told your son about this? So anyhow, there's a lot there. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all this, Congressman.
Yeah, that is a lot. Let me take a bunch of the early parts, the things you said, and just, this is part of why people don't trust Donald Trump, why we want to see his taxes, for what you just mentioned, things around the loans that he's had, the activities he's done to enrich himself and his friends, are part of why we have problems around the emoluments clause. So all of that is, again, part of reasons why people distrust Donald Trump. But I think not just the news of the day, but the news, unfortunately, we're going to be living through for quite a while now, is what happened last night in Iran. And the fact that this president, because we don't trust him, we're really not sure of the actions and why he did things. But what we do know is he did not consult with the Gang of Eight, the leaders of Congress, before he did this. This is a huge action. When you take out the essentially number two person in a country like Iran, and Iran is not some small little country, people really need to understand how powerful they can be. When you do this, this is consequential, and you know that going into it. And what those consequences mean, not just for the United States, but for the entire region of the Middle East, is extremely significant. And what will happen in the days and weeks to come could be immense. And I think many of us in Congress have great concerns that, one, we don't want an endless war. We don't want to go into war with Iran. We need to have diplomacy. But what happened, unfortunately, last night is anything but diplomacy. And now we have to live with the consequences of what's happened and figure out how to do this where more lives aren't lost. And many of us are very, very concerned that this is a slippery slope to a war with Iran, additional troubles in Yemen, in Israel, in Iraq. There's just a whole lot of potential consequences that we're trying to monitor and just get a handle on.
And speaking of Iraq, we just learned that one of the guys who was in the car meeting this Iranian general was the leader of the Shia-based militia in Iraq, which is the You've got the official Iraqi army, and then you've got this militia, which is semi-official. But this guy was considered one of the top 5 officials in the Iraqi government. And now the Prime Minister of Iraq just came out an hour or so ago and made the statement that this could be interpreted as an act of war against Iraq, not just Iran, because he not only killed the number 3 guy in Iran, but he appears to have killed the number 5 guy in Iraq. So I mean, this is just this is. I tweeted last night, Archduke Ferdinand was just assassinated. This is not going to end well.
Well, and that's the very, I think, analogy to look at, Tom. What I'm worried about is, was any of thought put into this ahead of time? Since most of the professionals in the military establishment that were around at the beginning of the Trump administration were pushed out, and since he's largely surrounded himself by especially Iran hawks, has anyone given him a counter voice as he did any of this? And what are those consequences that we're going to have because he didn't have that in place?
Yeah.